Wholeness and balanced vibrations. My name is Josefa. Welcome to Journey with Josefa and the Everything You Need to Know About Crystal series. Today we're going to talk about a very beautiful, powerful stone, Obsidian. So we're going to start to move into some protective stones. So let's go check it out. Okay, so like I was saying, guys, today we're going to be talking about obsidian. So I'm really excited for this video because there's a lot of different things that we can go into here. But as always, we'll start with the mineral composition of the stone. So obsidian is a amorphous type stone. I think that's how you would call it. Or the classification is the anamorphous stone. And it's because it doesn't have any geometrical structure to it. So it's a lava stone, or it's formed after, or it's a volcanic stone, so it's formed after lava cools, so it's more of a glass than anything. And it's very interesting. You get them from mostly black and brown. There is a certain type of obsidian known as Apache tears, and you'll also get a lot of white sediment that would also be on some of the more rougher pieces of obsidian. So metaphysically, this is where obsidian becomes very interesting. So I mentioned to you that obsidian is a glass per se. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to firstly just show you this beautiful book here. So this is called Caves of Power, and the author's name is Sergio Maganas. Sergio Maganas is a Toltec master, a Nahual Toltec Mexican master, and he's one of the first teachers of his lineage, and this lineage is going back thousands of years, that has been able to come forth into the wider culture, the wider society, and share some of the ancient Toltec dreaming techniques that they had mastered. And dreams are going to be something that I will dive into in a completely separate series here. But essentially, what the Toltecs and the Nahual tradition share is that dreaming, learning to master dreaming and lucid dreaming, is learning to master life and death. Because if you think about it from a metaphorical point of view, every night you go to sleep, you die. You literally leave this body and you go into your dream body. And for anybody that may not be connected yet with their dreams, we do dream irrespective of whether or not you remember it or not. And the Mexican or the Nahual tradition always knew, and a lot of old cultures, their goals, what they would teach people or students or children, was how to stay conscious in your dream. Because think about it, we spend 30 years of our life sleeping, and a lot of us don't even remember what we're doing when we're sleeping. So just from the productive standpoint alone, if you're wanting to master your dreams and to utilize this time to learn, to improve yourself, to go into your own psychological aspects of yourself, this is a great, I'm going to put this on mute, this is a great way to do it. And it has been proven that through a lot of science, that learning lucid dreaming is a great way of actually approaching traumas that you may not have psychologically dealt with and integrating them and cleansing them. But also learning to master your dreams can get quite fun and exciting. And this is, again, a series I'm going to do that's completely separate, but I thought I'd spend a few minutes talking about that because this will tie into obsidian. So once again, Sergio Maganas, what he explained in some of his works was the Mexicans looked at, and I don't want to say Mexicans per se because it's that culture, these cultures that span not just from Mexico that we know now, but also into the South American regions and Central America. But they looked at obsidian as a reflective mirror, because you can buy obsidian mirrors and do scrying with it. But the difference between an obsidian mirror and a standard mirror is, this ties into a lot of his teachings here, but as reflective surfaces, a normal standard mirror will absorb your reflection. Now, this actually ties into us believing that we are this flesh suit. So this is where it gets a little bit deep. And there is the old fable of Narcissus' tale, where Narcissus saw his reflection and fell into his reflection. And that fable is an analogy of us like falling into this belief that we're this physical vehicle, because we're more than that, right? We are the infinite consciousness of Source. We are supreme beings, right? This is only one aspect of ourselves. But we also too, one of the biggest tricks that happen to us, and this ties in also to what the moon is, but it gives us this, we come in with this forgetfulness because we're not able to master, we're yet to reawaken and master our reincarnation cycle. But part of it is to actually learn about how these reflective surfaces are actually taking us into our ego trap, essentially. Now, why they used obsidian to actually tie this into obsidian is obsidian, even though it is a reflective surface, as opposed to absorbing your reflection, it actually repels. So this ties into the metaphysical property of obsidian being very protective, because from that standpoint, it actually protects and pushes negative energy back to its source. And through doing that, it actually will teach the person that's sending you negative energy to stop that, because they're feeling their own energy. And anytime you're practicing these maleficent, I don't even know if that's the right word, or just negative practices, it's never going to work in that sense. Like, I'm not going to talk about anything I don't understand, but essentially anytime you're hurting somebody, you're hurting yourself, because all is self, right? So to tie this bit of a ramble into obsidian, you can utilize obsidian for scrying practices, getting mirrors like the Mexicans, the Nahual tradition will share, is that we can learn to actually push our reflection away from ourselves, and we realize that we detach ourselves from this. And this essentially is what shadow work is. So if you've heard of this term shadow work but wondered what is shadow work, it is us integrating our traumas, integrating aspects of ourselves that we have compartmentalized. I can never say that word right. And parts of ourselves that are fragmented off. So, throughout your life, you have these experiences and traumas that will make, or even judgments of certain experiences. And the more we judge ourselves, we effectively divide ourselves. So the more we say these words like peace, is we're actually piecing ourselves apart, right? But the goal is to find wholeness and to reintegrate everything so you are a whole being. Now, how obsidian, again, tying this all into obsidian, because this is what this talk is about, is it can assist in reflecting negative energy back. That's one aspect that's protective. It allows you to do shadow work on yourself, and when you are scrying and you're actually utilizing this energy for yourself, is you can learn to disassociate yourself from the reflection that you have, and we all are going through this ego, balancing the ego. And then through that too, that ties into lucid dream work. So that's a completely different video that we'll tie into. But again, I'll try to keep this specifically onto the metaphysics of obsidian without going too hard into these other aspects, because I get really excited when I talk about, more of the deeper spiritual work as well. But again, all this will come in deep other videos. So obsidian, very good for protecting. It assists with pushing away negative energies, like I mentioned a few times. So it's great to have in your house to keep on you, so you can get beautiful jewelry. I'm somebody that likes, as opposed to this necklace, majority of the clothes and the fashion that I'm drawn to are very simple pieces, and obsidian, just as a polished stone, is relatively inexpensive, and you can wear nice bracelets with it, so it's very good to wear on you, so you're constantly protecting your energy from other people's energies. I did mention in the mineral breakdown that there is a form of obsidian known as Apache tears. So if we look at different types of obsidian, this is where we can kind of be more specific with how we can integrate the aspects of the stone. So there are, like I said, obsidian tears, or Apache tears, my apologies. And what Apache tears assist with is the grief process. So it's very good for assisting yourself and just allowing you to feel, the loss of a loved one. So the story behind the Apache tears variety of obsidian was, there was a tribe of Native American Indians that were, I believe they were chased down by the cavalry of, obviously, I don't know what you would call them, but the United States military at the time, and they actually were killed or forced over a cliff. And right under where they were all, pushed to their death, essentially, was where their women and the women of the tribe would cry, and they were grieving for them. And around that area where that happened, there was a deposit of obsidian that they found. And that specific type of obsidian looks like very different. It's more rough. If I had a piece, I would definitely show you. And that's a very strong stone with assisting in grief and releasing of emotions, especially if someone's passed on. There were aspects of, there was snowflake obsidian. So snowflake obsidian is very good at transmuting negativity. So when we're talking about negative energies, not just from like things that attracting to you, it's more so your own negative energies within yourself. You can transmute it through Dalmatian. No, that's Dalmatian jasper, snowflake obsidian. Again, that's a very protective and grounding stone too. So with obsidians, you will find that they're very grounding. It's more of a psychic protector too. So when we were looking at other aspects of protection, you probably realize this through how I've explained protection, but it is more of a psychic protective stone. You've got rainbow obsidian. So these other obsidians are more when you're doing shamanic work. So I have talked about shadow work a few times here, but essentially, shamanic work, shadow work, even just psychological therapy, it's all essentially, like I was saying before, dealing with traumas and allowing them to kind of process through so you can kind of restore yourself back to that wholeness. And metaphysically, that's what some of these other stones do. So I believe it's rainbow obsidian that's very strong for that, shamanic journeying and kind of going into the depths of yourself and kind of dealing with that. So very powerful for meditations. And yeah, I guess I'll wrap it up now. So this has been quite a long video, but there's a lot to talk about with obsidian, especially when we tie in some of the Mexican work and some of the other aspects of how we can utilize stones. So if any of this was interesting to you, please like, share, comment, subscribe. I'd love to hear your feedback. I am still offering 30-minute vibratory analysis consultations for free. So please check those out if you're interested. But yeah, like I said, a lot more to share, guys, and we'll leave it at that today. So my name is Josefa. Welcome to Journey with Josefa and the Everything You Need to Know About Crystal series. And today was a little bit more. We talked about obsidian, a beautiful protective stone, and a stone for the shadow work. So have a great day, wholeness and balanced vibrations, and connect to you soon.